I'm going to go with Notre Dame to win the game, but I
Okay.
think Penn State's the better team.
Mm-hmm.
I think Penn State's the better team, and I'm not going to be shocked if Penn State wins it. And we have an all Big Ten final.
Happy Thursday, everybody. We finally get back to the college football playoff tonight. Not going live at our normal time today at 2 p.m. Central because we are going to be live streaming the Notre Dame and Penn State game tonight. Just tell you quickly, if you just found us or you haven't watched our live streams, our live stream with Indiana and Notre Dame did bonkers numbers. If you don't know what it is exactly, basically, we're the commentators for the game. We watch the game together. We're not legally allowed to show the game on our screen, but you watch it while we watch it. We're taking live bets. We're going to tell you the best bets that we have. We're breaking down the plays from a standpoint that we feel like only we can do with the knowledge that we have, and it's a lot of fun. So tonight at 6:15 p.m. Central, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. I'm not smart enough to know what that is Pacific time. Make sure you guys lock into Crain and Company. If it's your first time watching it, you're going to love it. We want to double the numbers we did last time, over 300,000 views. So we want to get you guys in there and help you win the water cooler and just have a good time watching some college football. But on the day of the first semifinal of the 12-team college football playoff, there was no better guest that we thought we could bring in than our good friend who's celebrating 40 years in television, does an incredible job, the Hall of Famer from Fox Sports, our good buddy, Tim Brando. What's up, Timmy B?
40 years, bud.
Hey, man, congratulations, brother. That's an amazing feat.
Yeah, that first game was January 5th, 85, Duke, Virginia, in Charlottesville with Dickie V. I was still working in Baton Rouge. I've been broadcasting really since birth, when you think about it. But in 1971, my dad and I did my first high school radio broadcast. And, I didn't stop from that point on, all the way through high school and college, and then on to my marriage, where I really needed to keep the job. Wherever the job was going to be, I needed to keep it. But 40 years and many more decades than maybe I had anticipated when I got into it, I've been able to cover. And when you think back to those days and where we are now, I define myself, fellas, now as a working play-by-play man. That's what I am. I'm a working talent. Sadly, about 90% of the people that get in the business are out of it within, say, 5 to 10 years. It's like a running back in the NFL. Now you're not going to last as long as the wide receiver. You're not going to last as long as the quarterback. So not everybody's going to have the luxury of having that kind of noteworthy career. This weekend, I'm leaving. At the point of this taping, I'll be leaving, and I'll be in my hotel watching you live streaming, by the way.
Let's go
tonight, because I'll be getting ready for my games on Friday night and Saturday afternoon. We've got UCLA and Maryland on Friday. Donnie Marshall and I have that game in College Park on Big Fox, and then we're going to swing over to D.C. and do Georgetown, a really good up-and-coming Ed Cooley-led Georgetown team against UConn, the two-time defending champs, on Saturday afternoon, early enough, right, that once we're done with that game, we can go back across the street to our hotel in D.C. and catch the Saturday night game of the playoffs. So
I do want to pivot here, Timmy B, to what we got going on the field with the college football playoff. We got through the first round, got through the second round. We're sitting here at the semis. Would you personally say that the first 12-team college football playoff overall has been a success up to this point?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. No question in my mind. And I think that we, because of the way our industry is now, to go back a little bit to the tail end of my conversation about me-generated, personality-driven daytime talk, we've not done a very good job of telling the world how successful it's been. We have been too critical, too soon, too often about it in ways that I think have undermined college sports in a way that pro sports has never been undermined. No one would dare go after the NFL as regularly as they go after college football, because they don't want their phone to ring because the commissioner made a phone call to their boss. Okay. there's not an individual commissioner in college football of any one of the conferences that wields the power of a commissioner of baseball or a commissioner of basketball, a commissioner of the NFL. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, it's like open season on anything that happens. And now it's a lot of back and forth between this conference and that, and what this guy said or that AD had to say, this coach happened to say. And as a result, a lot of negativity results. And I think it's unfortunate. Yeah, that first round had a lot of lopsided games, but my God, there have been lopsided games in playoffs in the NFL when it began having playoff games from generation to generation. How long did we wait for a Super Bowl to finally be something that was exciting? We had to wait a long time. We did. And then the next round, what Boise State did, even though it didn't win the game, and I thought they would, they represented themselves beautifully in that game. And Arizona State, even more so. What a comeback. What a job Cam Scadaboo did along with Levis. When you think about the job that, and I know their coach, Kenny Dillingham, took it tough, put it all on himself, but my God, what a fresh approach by him in the aftermath of that to take it all on himself. I thought that the New Year's Day was tremendous, and New Year's Eve for me was really, really good. And I don't think we've given it the accolades that we should. What I do notice, though, is that we still have too much space, and that's a calendar issue that we got to get taken care of moving forward. Some of that may be television generated. Okay, where to find an opening that these games are being played during the week? Why are they being played during the week? Because the NFL owns the weekend with the playoffs getting underway with Wild Card Weekend. We got to find a way to do a better job with that. I still have a problem with the monopoly, with only one network really in charge of all this. I think we should have more, like the NFL blueprint has, and we see on a weekly basis. And by the way, the ink on that new deal for 26 that's supposed to go in place, even though it's been announced, that ink has not dried. It's not even been signed. Mm-hmm. So we could see changes, but I think it's been overall a successful run. And I think that we've been too quick to be too negative too soon. And hopefully we can move forward and be a little bit more positive after the spring and summer months when all of the suits start getting together and talking about changes.
Well, we've said on this show, guys, multiple times that multiple things can be true at once. You're never going to have all great games. We didn't have that when we just had 2 teams. We didn't have that when we just had 4 teams. But you can tinker the process to make it better. The seeding you brought up, kind of the way that we select the 12, you can keep changing it and making it better. But to expect every game to be like Texas, Arizona State, it's just not, that's not feasible.
Here's my solution to it, okay? What we can do is this, guys. Week 0 this year, August the 24th, Devin and I were out doing a game in New Mexico. Montana State barely lost to North Dakota State again. The pride of that level of football. Okay, at the FCS level, they were undefeated, wound up losing, but they're playing at New Mexico. Devin and I go do a game there. There were about 3 or 4 games, right, total that weekend. Georgia Tech, I think, was playing. Memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, in Ireland. Yeah.
So, in Ireland. So that particular week, we could have full slate of games. And if you want to move week 0 to mid-August, do it. Just do it. Start the season earlier. And then let's get that schedule with regard to not just the academic side, which I know is kind of dusted under the rug these days, but just from a television inventory standpoint, not cower to the NFL and say, well, we're going to move the game here. We're going to place the game that we pay billions for at ESPN on Turner because we don't want our ratings to be bad. So we're going to put those games on Turner. We don't need to be doing that with a property this big.
Yeah, we
don't. And if ESPN doesn't have room for it, another carrier like a Fox, like a CBS, like an NBC should carry it. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what we should do. And these games can be to a point where New Year's Day once again has a championship. I don't see a problem with moving the dates forward.
Tim, I got 2 fact or fiction prompts for you, and you have 60 seconds each to make your case. The first one is Georgia would have beaten Notre Dame if Carson Beck played. Fact or fiction?
That's fiction. That's fiction. I don't think the quarterback played poorly at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought he played pretty well.
Me too.
I thought Georgia's issues were not the quarterback position. Their issues were in other areas. They didn't play the same way they played against Texas. And by the way, I'm going to give Jeremiah Love a lot of credit for that. And I'm going to give Riley Leonard a lot of credit for that. Notre Dame outplayed, outcoached. Marvin Freeman, I think, of all the coaches in college football's postseason, no one took a larger step towards becoming a star coach than Marvin Freeman did, because they did a lot of things that you knew you had to do to beat Georgia, including stealing that possession with, the fake punt and then bringing the team back out there. And then Georgia, veteran team, veteran players, not being able to hold their water and committing an infraction.
Mm-hmm.
They had that thing ready to go. Think of the discipline that it took to pull that play off from an offensive standpoint, from a special team standpoint. Jake, you know about this. You've coached. You got to practice that a lot.
For sure.
To be able to pull that off and not make the mistake yourself. So, yeah, that was a total team win for Notre Dame and a total team loss for Georgia. I didn't see anything from Beck special during the course of this year in any of the big games that would indicate to me that he would have been the difference at all.
High IQ play by Marcus Freeman. I'll go ahead and yield my second one to you.
Well, I will say this. I mean, if you go back and watch, Notre Dame did jump off sides. That receiver did jump off sides. They didn't call it. But Tim, I want to know this. I love talking about pressure. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. It makes diamonds.
Yep.
I mean, look, you've been dealing with pressure your entire life. Let's say Ohio State wins this national championship. What team going into is going to be under the most pressure to win a national championship in the next few years, and why?
Texas. I think because of the way Texas has played this year, and, they really haven't been dynamite for 4 quarters. Sark has said that many times over. We played a half here, we played a half there. And by the way, of these 2 games coming up, I mean, I cannot wait to watch, Penn State and Notre Dame, because I think it's just a tremendous matchup.
Yeah.
And in both cases, I think Franklin has a chance to do something that a lot of doubting Thomases felt he wouldn't be able to do. Same thing for Marvin Freeman. I think the storylines for those 2 teams are almost exactly the same. And to predict the winner there is really hard, especially based on the way Notre Dame played against Georgia. Okay. They slayed in their minds, I think, a dragon that most people, especially the betting public, didn't think they could slay. And in Penn State's case, they have now followed up, a step on your jugular win against the team they were playing at home with a really quality follow-up victory against the Boise State team that played hard and played well, but they just didn't have enough horses, and Penn State proved that they didn't have enough horses, which that was something I did not think the Nittany Lions could pull off. So I'm high on both of those coaches going into that game. I'm not nearly as high on Sarkisian's team going into this Ohio State game, but I will tell you that I think of the other 3 teams not named Ohio State, the team with the best chance of beating the Buckeyes is Texas. So from a matchup standpoint, I think we've got the best of both worlds with these 2. From a seeding standpoint, I know it was screwy, but I like the idea that these are the semifinals, and it's the 2 winners of these games that are going to play one another.
Yeah.
I love the Texas potential of putting it all together and ending the dream that Ohio State created for itself with that blowout win over Oregon. I think Texas is the one team that's capable of scoring with and making enough dynamic plays against to beat the Buckeyes.
Yeah, well, they say about potential. Napoleon had it, but he also had hemorrhoids. Timmy B, but before we get out of here quickly, if it's all right with you, I need a prediction. Who wins tonight's game, Notre Dame or Penn State? And then who wins Friday's game, Texas and Ohio State? Who do you got?
I'm going to tell you that I personally think James Franklin, I think that he's got the right idea about where the sport is. I don't know if you kept up with all the things he's been saying this week.
I have, especially yesterday about the Notre Dame conference thing.
I love what he's saying there. I have said forever that Notre Dame needed to be in a conference. And I like the fact that we have to, 9 games should be played by every league, period. End of story. We need all the things that James is saying are things that I've been spouting for, those 40 years you guys have been talking about. Even when Bino was like, Brando, they're not going to do it unless it's for the money. Well, now they are doing it, and they're doing it for the money. So maybe somebody will begin to listen. But Freeman's team and Riley Leonard particularly is such a, he's not really, when you think about it, he's not as talented as Aller. Aller's got more, I think, ability at the quarterback position than Riley does. But his captainship, you see that C on his shoulder pad, for a transfer to get that took a lot. His will to win, and he made big plays, only throwing for 90 yards in that game.
Mm-hmm.
90 yards. And Jeremiah Love is such a difference maker in terms of getting to the second level in big plays. I'm going to go with Notre Dame to win the game, but I think Penn State's the better team.
Mm-hmm.
I think Penn State's the better team, and I'm not going to be shocked if Penn State wins it. And we have an all Big Ten final. So I'm hedging towards Notre Dame. It's a soft pick, okay?
Okay.
Soft hedge.
I'm really not. It's a soft pick. I'm leaning, but I wouldn't bet on the game. Trust me. I would not bet on the game at all.
Because you've been in the business so long. And, from a controversial, I guess, off the mic standpoint, you've always been about business. The professionalism level is very high with you. And I know there's some certain controversies going on at a couple networks right now, a couple mainstream networks. And as someone that has been through different decades where things have been handled different, we were talking before about even before they had HR departments. I can't even imagine a world without that. But just, can you talk for a second about how you've gone about that and how it's changed and compared to the world we're living in right now, seeing this kind of craziness go on behind the scenes, and now with social media, it's out there and everybody kind of knows.
It's changed a lot, and I'm I'm not going to obviously get into the specifics of anything that's going on anywhere, whether it's at the place I work for or another place. But I've always said that relationships are the real catalyst to an enduring career. Okay, we all have relationships, and we hope, and God knows I've worked at enough places where I have relationships at really every network, with the exception of NBC, and even there. Their 2 primary guys in football for many, many years got their first opportunities to direct and produce with me doing college football at ESPN in 1989. But in today's environment, Jake, we're seeing personality-driven sports television shows, that aren't necessarily acquiring great ratings. In fact, I've talked, how many times have you heard me bemoan about embrace debate shows and the very
let's just yell at each other the whole time.
And they don't get much viewership, but what they do bring is notoriety, and what they do bring are hits in social media. Bringing and attracting attention to the said network that's in question. And when you're doing it that way, and it becomes all about you, it becomes about your personality and what your thoughts are, whether it's just an opinion that someone else disagrees with. Everything that you're doing is me generated. It's not we generated. It's me generated. And that's one of the reasons I love just doing the games. And if I happen to be in a studio setting where I was at CBS and at Turner and at ESPN for such a long time, I always tried to make it about we, not me.
Awesome. Well, Timmy B, by all Big Ten final, I guess you're going with Ohio State there as well. My friend, congratulations on 40 incredible years. You're one of the best. We can't wait to get you back. Enjoy, be careful on your travels out there. I know the weather's can be iffy this time of year in some of those places, but thanks so much for joining us, my friend, and we'll definitely give you a shout out on the live stream tonight.
Yeah, thank you. And our thoughts and prayers are with all those folks, many of my colleagues and friends out in California,
for sure,
dealing with those devastating fires in all those different locations. So thoughts and prayers to them too. And Happy New Year to you guys. You've made the last couple of years pretty special for me, and hopefully we can dig into some more meat and potatoes in 2025.
Well, I'll have my fork and knife ready, my friend. Thank you so much, Timmy B. You're the best.
Take care. You bet. Bye-bye.
All right. Tim Brando, again, one of the best in the business. Make sure tonight, guys, just to remind you, 6:15 p.m. Central, live stream, Penn State, Notre Dame. Then we're going to live stream Ohio State, Texas the next day. Let's blow it out again. Show up there with your questions, with your bets, and with a good attitude. Or if you want to be pissed, be pissed. We can all be pissed together. We appreciate y'all. And just like the chances of us not having fun doing this live stream tonight, we're going. Gone.